Hello, everyone. I'm Colleen O'Brien. This is Keryn Lee. Together, we are the Two Unholy Healers coming to you live. So, welcome to everyone here is watching live, and welcome to everyone on the replay. Because I don't know about you, Keryn, but a number of friends of mine wished me well and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm going to be able to miss the live, but I will definitely catch the replay." So, shout out to all of you right now. Yeah, we're live. We're unscripted. If you hadn't already figured that out. And yeah, we're back. Welcome back, Keryn. It's so great to see you here.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's so good to be here with you again. For those who are new to us, we were doing this podcast a couple of years back, and we had a lot of fun. And you can see the old recordings and that in the YouTube channel. You know, you can check all that out. But we got to a point where, for both of us in our businesses, and we said we'll do this for as long as it's fun. And then it got to a point, well, for me anyway, there was stuff going on in my business, and I thought, this is just not fun for me at the moment, so let's just take a break. Well, that break ended up being longer than we expected, but finally we are back. We are talking today about rising from the ashes of your healing business. And it kind of is going to mean something a little bit different for both Colleen and myself, because we've both had different experiences over the past couple of years. But we wanted to, once again, like we did before, we want to be really authentic and real about what's happening in our lives, our businesses as healers and beyond or around that. Because so often there's these stereotypical images of what a healer is, what you're supposed to be doing in your healing business, how it's supposed to look like this. And there's all this image stuff that is unreal and untrue and often unattainable. So we just want to get down and really look at the nitty gritty, and we want to share that with you, so that if you are having different experiences in your life and your business and things aren't going the way you expect, well, come and join this conversation, because like Colleen said, this is totally unscripted. We probably will and usually do say ridiculous things or whatever and get ourselves into trouble. But we just want you to have fun and join us every fortnight. We'll be here live, and we'll probably drop a few other videos in the on the channel every now and then as well. So keep watching for all of that.
Yes. So for those of you who don't already know, because I actually was talking to a friend of mine, and I was like, "Oh, we're doing the podcast again," and I was like, Two Unholy Healers, and she's like, "You're gonna talk about healing?" Because this person knew I had quit. I was no longer marketing myself as a healer. I wasn't professionally seeing clients anymore. I wasn't teaching. I wasn't creating any content around it. And so she was very confused. And, she said it in a very loving way, like, didn't you already learn that lesson? Like, why are you going back there? It was not an easy decision. And it, I think a lot of us want to see, as you were talking, the perception, right? Because one of the things that happened when I did it very quietly, and I just stopped posting on social media and whatnot. And a friend of mine from high school, so I've known her for, well, you know how old I am, right? So it's been a bit. But she had reached out to me and said, "Hey, I've noticed you haven't posted in a while. Is everything okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm just taking a step back from social media." And then her follow-up question was, "Well, how is that going to affect your business?" And I literally laughed out loud, because I thought, oh, God bless you for thinking that I was actually getting clients and leads from social media. But that again, what's the perception? What's the reality? What's the story? And then what is really happening behind the scenes, right? So it's so much of it can be window dressing, particularly on social media now with AI as well. What is the illusion? What is the fantasy? So and maybe we'll have some other episodes about AI because, well, Keryn calls me the AI person.
The AI queen.
I'm just the person that she knows who probably knows
Plays
the most.
with it, who
Yeah.
experiments and, oh, hey, what does this do? Oh, hey, how can I do that? That's what I love about it, because you don't really have a point of view about, or, you know, well, it is great or it isn't great. It's like, no, hey, let's just play with it. And so she has some really great ideas about how to use these things. In, like, for an example, one day we were talking about Facebook, and I was talking about all this crap that pops up all the time, and she's like, Keryn, you train the Facebook to do what you, like the AI to do what you want. And I'm like, huh? And then she told me how you go and you click this little button and you say, no, you know, I don't want to see this anymore. But it was like talking to a child. Keryn, you have to train the AI. And I'm just like, oh, but I mean, it sounds illogical, but I'd never taken the time to do that. So therefore I just complained about what I was receiving, which wasn't what I wanted. And, you know, this is kind of what I'm talking about. Colleen has that perspective of, well, how am I going to get this to work for me? Or how do I change this if it's not working for me? And I think that's important with something like AI. And like you said, this is probably another topic later. But, you know, to actually get things working for you the way you want.
Or just algorithms in general, right? Because so much of that, you know, and there's so many healing modalities that talk about your subconscious programming, right?
Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know. You just sort of assume, hey, this is
Yeah.
the way I've always been thought. This is the way I've always been taught. This is the way I assume everyone else is experiencing the world.
Yeah.
And then when you kind of get that little wake up, like, oh, there is something different I can do. It doesn't have to be that way. And maybe it's something very small. Like me, I just sort of am like, oh no, you just sort of you teach the algorithm you don't want to see post like that. Like you just click on the little thing and you tell it.
Exactly.
And to me, I'm like, that's so simple. Like, how does not ever, and then, but to you, it was like, oh, right.
Yeah.
And so with the healing businesses, I think a lot of people get, well, you know, at least there's a lot of disillusionment, right? Because everybody loves that story of it being simple, right? This little 3-act structure of like, oh, some big thing happened to me that was really transformative. And then so I found the tools and now, oh, I've got this major life changing, like, look at me now. And so you go, it's like this little 3-step process, and life's not
the sales formula. You know, the sales formula, and you see it over and over and over and over again on social media and marketing now. You know.
Right. And I think a lot of us as healers, we bought into that image, that pipeline, that plot.
Yeah.
Forgetting that, like, real life is the messy middle all the time.
Yeah. Exactly.
So then when things don't show up the way you expect, or, you know, maybe you don't have to necessarily reinvent yourself, but you get to a certain level and then it's like, well, now what?
Yeah.
So Keryn, is there an example of what, when you got to that, well, now what moment?
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, it was, the business had got really successful. I'd opened the healing studio in 2019. And, you know, for those who don't know me, my business really began probably 18 years ago when I first started doing classes. I was living in the country at the time, moved to the city. Yes, Secret Healers Business.
If you want to read her story, all the experiences she has, check out her book, link in the description, everybody. Shameless plug.
Exactly. And then I started, got to Adelaide, started doing the psychic expos, and, you know, I was committed to building my business. I worked hard. 2019, opened the healing studio. I was using lots of wonderful tools to help me create really expansively. And each year got better and better and better. And then probably about 2.5 years after opening the studio, I started having these moments of like, I'm bored. And I'd also written not just that book, but a couple of books. I'd always wanted to open a studio. So there's all these dreams that I had that meant like this was being a successful healer. This is what it was going to look like. It's going to write my book. I was going to be teaching, have clients, the studio, all of that. And then it got to the point where I'd achieved all that and it was going great. And all of a sudden I'm like, I had this thought, I'm bored. And like I kind of panicked because I'm like, I don't think I want to be doing this anymore. And I'm like, are you serious? Like my study for all of this began when I was 19 years old. So it's like you have literally committed 40 years of your life to this and you don't want to do it anymore. And what do you think you're going to do now? Because I don't have a whole lot of other skills that would translate into, you know, another job or whatever. So I had these little moments of panic and pretending that everything was still going fine on the outside. And when my lease ran out in that particular place, I chose not to resume the lease. I hired a room for about another 8 or 9 months. And then after that, I just really took my business online and started. I had a few customers at home, but not a lot. Mostly I just went online. But that was a way really for me to just pull back a bit, slow down, have less clients, and not be working as hard, not be under as much pressure, and just take some time to think about what do I actually want to do? Why isn't this working for me? And there were so many layers to this that it's probably not something I can really talk about just in, 15, 20 minutes or whatever we have today. But it opened up lots of conversations with myself about what do I really want to be doing. And one of the things that I came to is that it wasn't so much that I didn't want to be doing healing anymore. It's like I wanted to be doing it in a different way and a way that was more on.
Oh no. Oh no, Keryn, did your internet go out? Oh man, she's frozen on my screen, guys. I don't know if she's frozen on yours. Oh, drat, just when we were getting to the good part. All right. Well, I will say I had a very similar experience in that, well, let's see, what can I change here? Let me remove her frozen thing. Maybe she'll come back. Sorry about that, guys, but this is what happens when we're live, right? And so I hope you got some good takeaways from Keryn sharing her story. I had gotten to a very similar point where I was like, okay, if I'm not going to do healing, what am I going to do? And now I do have an awful lot of skills of other things that I could be doing. But ultimately, I was just so miserable. I had done so many things to try and turn my healing business around and turn it into what I thought I wanted. And when it didn't show up that way, I was really in a place where I knew I wasn't making very good decisions and I wasn't going to be able to be open to other opportunities to create more. So I had to take that step back and I had to quit. And I wasn't so focused on, oh, this next thing that I do has to be the thing. I didn't box myself into having to jump right into something else and then, okay, now I'm going to be that now. I was really open to, hey, what is going to make me feel better? What is going to be even just getting back to neutral, not necessarily happy or fun, but just, hey, I don't want to feel like I'm in the pits anymore. And so that's why I started working with AI and started doing some just, hey, why not? Let me just try it, and allowed myself that space to do that. And that is part of why we are back, because I have been talking to Keryn and I said, hey, I really had a good time when we were doing the live streams. Let's do that again. And she felt really light and jumped on board with that. And so we decided to play. So I don't necessarily see Keryn coming back on, and I don't necessarily see her. Let me just quick check my email to see if she's been able to send something. Of course, if her internet's down, she's probably not going to be able to send me a message. So I think we'll just, oh, wait, I think I see her entering the studio again. Here we go. Welcome back. Oh my goodness, did you remove yourself? I think we both added one another at the same time. All right.
Oh my goodness, that was wild. I obviously went off on a little holiday there for a moment. I'm glad that you stayed online though,
Oh,
because
I
that
can
was
vamp like the best of them. Let me tell you. You need me to fill some dead air, I can go on and on and on. Yeah. So no worries.
a
No worries.
consummate professional at that sort of thing. So that's beautiful.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that. Can I just jump in and share a little bit of something I wanted to add on the end of what I was saying was just that the last 4, 5, 6 months has really been about choosing for me and starting to be very more present in my business so that I'm actually doing the things that are fun for me and I'm not chalking it up with stuff that I feel like I should be doing. And as we were talking about the social media and that before, I just got to the point where it's like I just can't be bothered doing this anymore. I would have an idea for something to talk about, and I'd get it set up, and I'd go, I just can't be bothered. And there was just an energy to it that was just no. So I thought, okay, well, what can I do that is actually fun for me? And it was Colleen and I got talking a few weeks ago, and in fact, I think I remember saying to you, I'd asked the question the night before, what can I be or do to have way more fun, something that brings me money, something that creates connections with others, something that contributes to consciousness on the planet and allows me to be all that I am. And for those of you who know me, I like to ask lots of questions so that we can really get the energy flowing. And it was literally the next day that Colleen said, hey, why don't we get that podcast going again? And the energy was so light and exciting. I'm like, yes, let's do it. Because as we were saying before, it's not because we have to, it's not because we have to advertise anything or we expect people to buy anything. It's like, let's just show up, let's have fun, let's have discussions about things that we feel we can contribute to, and let's create a community and see what comes from all of that for all of us.
Brilliantly said. I love that. I love that. And it really dovetails what I have been talking about while you were off air. So
Perfect.
yes, brilliant. So I don't think I have anything else to add from my end. Is there anything else you would like to add before we wrap this up?
I guess I would just like to say that for any of you who have been in a similar situation to Colleen or myself, I think it is about starting recognizing, look at where you're at, look at what you're doing, whether is it still fun for you, is it not fun for you, what's not working, what is working, and just kind of pull back, come back to your.
Oh no, are we losing you again, Keryn? Oh my goodness. Oh yes, I think she's frozen. Oh man. All right, I'm going to remove her again. And I really sincerely appreciate you guys hanging in with us while we've got those internet issues down in Australia where Keryn is located. I'm here in the United States. We'll give her another moment or two to see if she comes back to wrap this up. But I will say it is really, you've got to critically evaluate how the business is showing up for you and how you're showing up for the business. And if you're trying to be something that you're not, or trying to meet somebody else's idea of what your business is and what being a healer is, and you're not jiving with that, you're not happy, like your emotions are not aligned with, like, it's not a hell yes, and it's not just temporary, right? Like, because I went through several years of working on myself, believing that, oh, just don't quit before your miracle shows up, it's right around the corner. Yeah, at a certain point, like, I don't want to say cut and run, but it wasn't uh, beneficial for me personally to continue on the route that I was on. And so, sometimes you've got to make a radical change. And maybe that is changing your identity as a healer at all. And that's okay, right? Like, I hate to say, what did we learn? But like, yeah, what did you learn from that experience? Sorry, Keryn, please pick up. Welcome back again. I love this. I love being live.
Sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on with my internet today, but you know, just what you were saying, it didn't turn out the way that you perhaps wanted it to or expected it to, or that I did for my business. But you made a decision at some point, it's not fun for me anymore. And I had this coming up that something just wasn't right anymore. For me, something needed to change. I didn't know what that was, and I resisted it for a long time. But now it's like I can see into all areas of my life where things needed to change. There wasn't a complete balance. So for me, the last year and a half has been pretty, well, I won't say it's been the most comfortable couple of years that I've had, but it's allowed me to really look at things a lot deeper than I probably would have otherwise. And so for me now, it's about what else can I create now? Where am I going from here? I have no clue. I'm still doing my healing work, so you can still come visit my website. But I feel like I'm just functioning from a different space now. There's more ease, there's more openness, and there's more, it's more relaxed than it used to be. So what else is possible from here?
Brilliant, brilliantly said. Yes, and our websites, the links are in the description. Links to our books. This is Keryn's book, and my book is still for sale, even though I'm not, taking clients right now. This is still valuable and helpful, and I do still see some sales from it. So if you're at that point, check it out.
Still a good book, still valuable.
Exactly. If you're at that point, even though I might be somewhere else, or I may come back around to it. I did intuitively get that perhaps the timing wasn't right for me. Like I always, time and me, like I was living in the future, right? Like I showed up to be a healer before like everybody else was ready for me to be a healer. And
that's an interesting that you say that, because that does happen. Sometimes we are just, and especially you with time. So if you guys want to know more about Collean with time and you haven't seen previous episodes, there's one on time. I can't remember what we called it, but go check that out, because Colleen's totally awesome when it comes to time. But that really resonated what you were just saying then. So yeah, what else is possible? Oh, I think, have we lost Colleen now? Colleen's screen's frozen. Oh my goodness. Well, perhaps that's our cue to say goodbye for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for those that are going to watch later. Thank you to Colleen for being here. Let's hope our connection problems are solved for next time. And we would love to see you in 2 weeks' time for our next program, which I think is going to be called How Do You Measure Success? So thanks again, guys. We look forward to seeing you then. Bye for now.